Hello, Jen here with a layout for the Wild Whisper design team. The first little portion of this video is going to be shot in portrait style instead of landscape, because this was actually done during a live that I did on Wednesday. Every second Wednesday, starting with the first Wednesday of the month, I go live with Wild Whisper. I'd love it if you wanted to come over and join me and have a chat and scrapbook with me. It's the Wild Whisper Facebook page, so I will leave the link down below so you can come and join. And then on the opposite Wednesdays, Sarah does one, Sarah Scraps, and Caitlin does the other. So yeah, come and join us every Wednesday and hang out and scrapbook with us. So that's why this looks a little bit different though, is because I just took that live footage, downloaded it, and turned it into a sped up video, so you didn't have to watch all the chit chat and everything. But you definitely can do that if you want to go to the Facebook page. It's still posted there, so you can go back and hang out. It's only about an hour long, and watch the chat and everything, and listen to me as I put this all together if you want. But here is just the sped up version. So I really wanted to try this fun, trendy technique that is all over TikTok and Instagram and Pinterest. It's sort of originated with making these fun little cats. There is an artist, and forgive me, I don't know their name, but there is an artist who actually creates these little cats and does like family portraits and things like that. And then of course everybody has kind of taken that technique because it's just really super fun. You can see here it is so simple. So I just used this technique, but I didn't put the little points where the cat's ears would be. I just did a kind of rounded line of paint and smeared that down the page, and you get these super cute ghosts. And so the idea is that as you drag the paint down, you can kind of layer them up, and they're kind of transparent, and you can see the different layers of them. You could do this in different colors, and I just thought it would be really fun to do a background this way. So on the live, I explained a little bit more where I was testing to see if certain paper was going to work better than others. So I grabbed out my normal cardstock. It's the same brand as the white cardstock that I always use, but the black version. So one side has texture, the other side is a bit more smooth. I practiced on both sides of those first just to see, what it was going to do. And then I also practiced with two different types of paint. So believe it or not, the type of acrylic paint you use does make a bit of a difference. So the one larger bottle is from Dollar Tree. It's a little bit more watered down, not quite as opaque, and it created these very cool looking ghosts, but they were very, very faint and didn't really pop up on the page quite as much. I think they would be really fun to layer if you were making them in smaller versions and just having them kind of all over and making lots and lots of them. It would be fun, but I needed them to show up a little bit more. So I went with a different acrylic paint, which was just one from Michael's. So only one step up as far as, cost and how good the paint was. But there was a significant difference in how opaque they were. So I practiced. I also tried using some texture paste. It didn't really work out for me. I think because the squeegee that I was using it wasn't picking it up the way I thought it might. And also I think it was too long going the full 12 inches of the page, even though I guess I only started that one maybe a third or 2/3 of the way up. So it wasn't as long as some of the other ghosts, but I still think it was too much to kind of pull down, but definitely something to go back and kind of play with a little bit more and practice a little bit more. So the first two were my practices. You kind of saw where I goofed a little and, smeared some of the paint and stuff like that. And then that third one was the paper I actually wanted to use as my background. It has a bit of a glittery texture to it, so I wanted to give a practice a couple times before going in and potentially ruining that paper. And so I did go back and make a bit of a smear that kind of was a bit of a goof, but that's okay. My picture is going to cover that, so I wasn't too worried about it. So I created my little ghost shapes, put it to the side to dry. It dries so quickly because you are just scraping that paint off, and there's not a lot there, so it really doesn't take long to dry at all. And the squeegee I just got from Dollar Tree as well, but honestly, if you had an old credit card or anything at all, a spatula, whatever you want to use to drag your paint, you could use that too. I just kind of like that in the videos that I keep seeing, they're using little squeegees, so I went and grabbed a squeegee from Dollar Tree. So while that was drying, I decided to pull out my little watercolor book here and create some extra little ghosts that I could tuck in around my layout. So I created those little watercolor ghosts. Go back and watch the live if you want more of a tutorial, but I actually copied those directly from an artist on Instagram. I think she's on TikTok too. She's all over the place. Her name is Andrea, and she teaches art for kids. And I am having a blast following all of her tutorials and just playing around. So that's where that ghost tutorial came from. And also the pumpkin ones. So I was explaining that I pulled out the sweater weather stamps from Wild Whisper and stamped these pumpkins that you see right here, these solid ones, onto some orange paper. And then I had another stamp that had kind of the outline of a pumpkin and, you know, roughly the same size. So those are what I use to stamp. But if you don't have pumpkin stamps, oh, I was showing you my cool Halloween cup. But if you don't have pumpkin stamps, Andrea also taught a really fun way to kind of make these blobs and turn them into really cool pumpkins. So I've been sitting down at night with my little art watercolor book and just painting along with some of her tutorials, just having fun, being creative, and, you know, not having to think too much and just playing around with my creativity and practicing blending colors and mixing colors and that kind of thing. So I thought this was really cool and I can incorporate this into my scrapbooking. So I created a couple of extra ghosts on that page there to cut out and add to my layout. So kind of went through the 3 steps of how I created those. If you really want me to go ahead and do a better explanation of it, maybe do a real-time video of how I did those, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll probably be doing some Christmassy images and stuff like that too, so please let me know. I could also do a live on Instagram or my own personal Facebook page, or here. So if that's something you're interested in, please do let me know. But yes, so I did a couple of those. I showed my little pumpkin, and then I grabbed the Moving On Up collection from Wild Whisper, and I pulled out a few pieces that I thought would be really fun to alter and kind of turn them from this new home, moving into a new home, and turn them into kind of like a creepy Halloween style sign. So the first one from the Fussy Cut page was that Home Sweet Home. And then I also cut out that house hunting little sign right there. And then I have one of the cards, journaling cards, that says Dream Home. So I'm going to go ahead and alter these a little bit. So the first thing I did was crumpled up those 2 pieces that I cut from the Fussy Cut sheet, and then I used some espresso ink, Tim Holtz ink, just to kind of like muck them up a little bit. I ripped and scuffed up the edges with my scissors and just kind of made them look really distressed. Whoops, I knocked the camera there, sorry. Just made them look really distressed and old and you know, not nice looking. And then I decided to alter them. I wanted it to look like I had intentionally altered them, like somebody had taken these signs and graffitied on them or covered them up, that kind of thing. So for the first one there that said house hunting, I wrote the word ghost on the end of that little card right there and cut that and kind of distressed that up, and I will put that over top of house, and so that sign's going to say ghost hunting. On the home sweet home sign, I just took my Sharpie and crossed out home and decided to write the word scary. Crossed out the word sweet, not the word home, and decided to write the word scary. So I used a white paint pen, and I'll go over it a couple of times to make it really opaque. It kind of looks like spray paint. So I like how that one turned out. So now that says home, scary home. And then for the journaling card, it's a dream home. So I actually just took my black Sharpie and went right over top of the D and put an S and a C, and then wrote out the rest of the letters that were there to make it say scream home instead of dream home. I did write a little keep out or stay away, I think, at the bottom of that card, but you won't end up seeing it. It's going to be tucked in behind the picture. I just wasn't sure as I was sort of putting the elements together how much of those ghosts in the background that I wanted to cover up. So I thought maybe I might actually have this as a journaling card, but I'm not going to. It doesn't actually need any journaling on it. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's our Halloween pictures, and it is going to be with a whole bunch of other Halloween photos, so I don't need the journaling. And then I did lose some of my footage of just putting this all together. So I have my pumpkins down at the bottom that I fussy cut out. And then I'm adding some of these gorgeous little tiny star sequins in silver, in little clusters and clumps. That's how I like to use those. And I also added a spider up at the top from a punch. And that's it. That is my layout. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Use my discount code DTGen at checkout to save some money on this collection and others. Visit the Wild Whisper links down below. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.